Alright, we're back. We're moving on to the Western bracket where Duke is the top seed. San Diego State, a surprising 2 seed. They had a good year this season. I believe their record was 32-2 with their only losses coming to BYU, who was a top-ranked team all year. Again, an easy game at number 1 with Duke. Duke moving on with no problem against Hampton. This 8 and 9 seed game in the West is a pretty interesting matchup. Michigan playing out of the Big Ten, which was a tough conference all year. Arguably the best conference next to the Big East. Going up against Tennessee, who's a perennial program with a lot of storied history and a lot of successful teams. They play out of the SEC, and Tennessee's been playing good basketball as of late. They've had a shaky year all season. Their coach got into some trouble, but I think because Bruce Pearl has a lot of experience coaching teams deep into tournaments, I'm going to take Tennessee moving past Michigan. Moving on to Arizona and Memphis. Memphis has been in the public eye as a good program now for a long time. They have troubles of keeping on to players. They have a lot of one and done, so they're constantly rebuilding. Arizona's been playing high-intensity basketball all year. Out of the Pac-10, they have a lot of good quality wins due to their athleticism. I'm going to take Arizona moving on past Memphis. Now we got Texas and Oakland, the 4 and 13 matchup. I've been hearing a lot of people talk up Oakland about a possible upset over Texas. It seems like Texas is always one of those teams that they're good, just like Pittsburgh, but people don't like them come tournament time. I don't think that Oakland really has a chance to upset them. I think Texas will play good defense to shut them down. Maybe have a victory, something like 60-50. Low-scoring game, but ultimately I think Texas moves on. Cincinnati, Missouri, another matchup that we like here. We think that they match up really well. Cincinnati has some good low post scoring. Missouri plays full court defense. Try to tire out the other team's offense going late in the games. This is pretty much a pick-em toss-up game. I'm going to take Cincinnati. Just based on their seeding, I'm just going to trust the people to make the seeds that Cincinnati's the better team, so I'm going to have them moving on past Missouri. Moving on to the 3-14, UConn versus Bucknell. Kemba Walker's been an explosive player all year, and he definitely carried them during the Big East tournament. Had a really big game against Syracuse. Even though they're tired, as far as the first round game goes, I think UConn's going to have no problem. Kemba Walker's going to have a good game. They'll get some contributions from their big men. UConn moves on past Bucknell. Temple and Penn State, another very interesting matchup here. Temple playing out of the A-10. Doesn't really see some of the competition that Penn State would playing in the Big Ten this year. I'm going to take Penn State. They made it all the way up until the conference finals against Ohio State. And I think they're playing some good basketball, probably their best basketball of the season going into the tournament. That's exactly what you want to do. I'm going to take Penn State over Temple with the upset. And then that leaves San Diego State and North Colorado. I'm not a big fan of San Diego State. I don't think that they really had too many impressive victories based on the conference that they're in. Unfortunately, they're able to reel off 32 wins. Not to say they're a bad team, I just don't think they're deserving of a number 2, but in the first round, I don't think they have any problem moving on past Northern Colorado. So I'm taking San Diego State to move on to play Penn State in the second round. Going back up top here, now we got Duke versus Tennessee. Duke's just too deep. Coach K's too good of a coach. They've been involved in too many high-intensity games. They played well in both matchups against North Carolina, played well in the conference tournament. I think Duke moves on fairly easily. Arizona and Texas, these guys play pretty much the opposite style of basketball, so one of these teams is going to be at a disadvantage depending on how the game unfolds. We'll see which team that may be. Personally, I always take a good athletic team that runs the ball over a good defense when it comes to the tournament, so I'm going to take Arizona over Texas. Cincinnati, UConn. I'm going to take UConn. I'm not really going to say too much about it. Kemba Walker is really impressive all year, and I just think that sometimes you have that one player, and that's enough to get over the hump against some of these teams, like a team like Cincinnati. I'm going to take UConn over Cincy. Moving on, against the winner of Penn State and San Diego State. This isn't really the sexiest matchup. I think ultimately playing in the Big Ten all year, playing those tough games, playing tough defense, and having pretty much the same size and athleticism on the team, about the same depth. I'm going to take Penn State with the upset over number 2 seed of San Diego State, moving on to face UConn. Alright, now getting to the 8 here. I'm going to have Duke against Arizona in my bracket. Again, Duke, they've just been so solid all year, and they're such a good tournament team. Coach K knows how to really get the guys together and play as a team. Once they get deep into the tournament, I think that they're going to take Zona pretty easily. Another easy win for Duke moving on. And then UConn, Penn State, kind of the same situation as Duke and Zona. UConn's just played so well over the course of the year, and playing in the Big East, you pretty much are playing high-intensity tournament level basketball all season. I'm going to take UConn. Kemba Walker having another huge game going on past Penn State. And that leaves Duke and UConn in the West to see who goes in the Final Four. I'm really hoping that we get to see this matchup. That's kind of another pick-em toss-up game. But when you're relying on one player, being Kemba Walker for UConn so heavily in the tournament, having to win so many games in a row, dating back to the conference tournament and regular season, I think that Duke's going to be more well-rested and better prepared to move on. I'm going to take Duke as the winner out of the Western bracket. And I don't want to, I don't like them.